right, welcome to the second bit of Friday. Now, before the 2022, the run-up to the 2022 presidential elections, we didn't really know much of her. But then after that, well, right now she is, well, like the official opposition, if you ask me, right there on Twitter and all that. Welcome on set, Justina Wamae.
Thank you.
It's actually an honor to be with you today. I've always wanted to interview you about, well, everything, snakes and weed and all that.
So this is the opportunity.
Hopefully we'll get to that.
But I'm also humbled. You know, when I was growing up, guys who are doing 9 o'clock news were the who and who. Now you being here, you're one of those guys.
Please stop it. Anyway, you can always talk to us on our socials below your screens right about now, and throw in all those particular questions that you do have for Justina Wamae. She'll definitely answer them. Hopefully we'll have time for all that particular, for her to answer them. And the first one would be, recently,
yes.
The Roots Party leader, Professor Wajackoyah, had made some changes in the party. What do you make of that?
Do you know, Stanley, this year I'd said I won't talk about that party because I resigned last year, 22nd of September. So it doesn't affect me because one, I was never a deputy party leader. I was an ordinary member. And two, I resigned after my task and the fallout. So that's all I can say about it.
All right.
Yes.
Let me read a quote.
Yes.
I think you tweeted some few hours ago, and it says, you can take a look at Justina Wamae on Twitter. It says, Mr. Wajackoyah, you are so confused as a flight of dark shadows. I was never deputy party leader in your shambolic party, and ensured I was just an ordinary, and you ensured I was just an ordinary member by design. I resigned on the 22nd of, that is 9th of 2022, in case you're waking up from a deep sleep, letters attached.
Yes.
Do you have something against Wajackoyah?
No, I don't have anything against Wajackoyah, but what I'm avoiding is the public seeing me like I'm dishonest, because I had said I resigned and I put my letter of resignation online. So again, this information has come up again, and I'm being told that 30 days I need to leave the party. So I was wondering what is happening, and I left. So I have nothing against the party or him, but Kenyans needed to be reminded that I left the party September 22nd last year.
Or probably he wanted you to go for a file. Maybe, did you leave any file there?
As long as,
even a single paper?
No, I got my letter of resignation was stamped, and it's what I've attached. So there was no clearance like what you do in high school, So okay. I don't think there's anything that would make me go back there. Yes.
But then why? Because in the campaigns, both of you were there, and it was something extraordinary. Your campaign pledges, they were extraordinary from what we have, been used to hear. And then suddenly, you say, I'm out of Roots Party. Was there something backdoor, something that you've never told the media, something that you've never really told us?
Stanley, and today I'm avoiding that conversation. But let me end the conversation by saying, when an alligator tells you that the crocodile is sick, please believe the alligator. So that's the end of the conversation, because I vowed this is a new year. So
who's the alligator in this?
Your guess is as good as mine, because there are two, the crocodile and the alligator.
So there's nothing really. I mean, you just woke up one day and said, I just, I'm not going to go out there and, sell the whole idea of snakes and all that.
The ideology was good, but the conversation and media is in the public domain, took another direction, and you're seeing where he is now. So that was the reason I left, because I believed we had our own journey and our own agenda. So taking a different direction was taking me out of what I believed, and that is why I left. There is so much, Stanley, that we can talk about, but I feel I moved on from that conversation, so there is no need of me talking about it.
So at this point, you still believe in all those particular ideologies?
Yes, because I'd contributed to the manifesto.
Okay.
So I was part of making the content. You see when you're given group work, Stanley, do you know there are people who are part of your group, they'll never do anything, but you have to include them in the final assignment because it's group work. So I was part of the group work, I can never walk away from the effort I put in that group work. So I believe in everything we said. save for taking a direction that we had not agreed on.
In a 50-50 kind of cost sharing in the ideologies to come up with the book and the whole pledges of the Roots Party manifesto. Yours and Wajackoyah's, how much does it amount? Who contributed more?
I leave that to the viewer, but they know who went for the debate to raise the profile of the party. That is where I leave the viewers. They were in Kenya. No one has moved away from Kenya. So they saw who dedicated themselves to explaining and getting the fire, getting the heat from Kenyans, from media. So it's for them to judge who put more effort.
To this day, do you look at that particular manifesto and you're like, you just laugh, you're like, really? I mean, what were you thinking here, really?
What makes me sad, so to speak, is the hyena parts. That was not part of the discussion.
Oh, really?
And it was mentioned during the launch. So that is something that I look back and I feel, okay, I was not...
Wait, so before this particular launch, I remember it was one dramatic one with the whole reggae tunes and all. Before that, you didn't know anything about the hyena bits.
People do things differently. Your boss can tell you, Stanley, you do your thing. This is the task, flow with it. So you write your own script and you do your everything. So he wrote his own speech and I wrote mine. So I can say I did not know. So that is the only bit that I look back and well, it was too much.
What was your reaction when he's there and he's talking about hyenas and you have snakes in your script?
The public saw. I put the letter I had, the speech I had. I just covered my face. I was very embarrassed. But Stanley, did you call me here for that conversation, really?
Definitely, it is one thing that the viewers would like to know.
Okay.
It is definitely one thing that the viewers would like to know. All that particular journey,
yes,
from the campaign period all the way to the election bit. And speaking of the elections, recently, Prof. Wajackoyah was saying that the elections were on your side. Him as a presidential aspirant, and you as a deputy presidential aspirant, the votes were stolen. Do you and even on your Twitter, you have really bashed him on that. Do you agree on that?
I like speaking on facts. There's a Form 34C that was signed, and the chief agent, who is now the deputy party leader, who has been gazetted, signed the Form 34C. So I speak to the facts. If the election was not free and fair at the time, then I believe he would have advised the agent accordingly not to sign. So what I would like Kenyans to understand is that time has moved on. Since the days we grew up and politics was about bashing, I want Kenyans to start thinking differently, that there's politics and then there's getting the job done. So once politics is done, let us now start gauging the person who got the position in delivery and performance. So Form 34C ndio kusema kweli.
So for you do believe that all those votes zilikuwa tu sawa?
Our chief agent confirm what the party stand was, because he signed Form 34C. Yes. Okay,
and speaking of matters doing what the voter really said, let's talk about the whole national prayers that both the Kenya Kwanza side and even the Azimio right now are pushing for. Recently on the Valentines, and I'll actually come to that, how you spent your Valentines. But then before that, the whole national prayers. What do you make of it? Do you feel like it's a solution?
I feel we are going down the road of hyper-religiosity. God has already given people the job to do. I don't expect God to come and clear this glass. It is our role. There are things that you do that are humanly possible, and then there's God's role. So I believe as it is, it's too much of, asking God, do this for us. He's already given us a job. He's given them a job, rather. He's given them a sound mind, and Kenyans a sound mind to ask questions and tell government, you know what, you're not doing the right thing. So I feel it's about time for them now to start doing the job that they promised Kenyans they're going to do.
Right.
Yes.
And speaking of which, someone who, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua right now, you are also vying for that particular seat. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is a man he's an honest man. he says what he's in his mind. What do you make of that as someone who was also seeking for that same seat?
I think I'm more honest than him.
Oh, really?
I remember I told Kenyans during the debate,
okay,
we will not promise you 100 days.
Yeah,
give us a year.
I do remember that.
No, for them, they promised 100 days. And then they're saying that even if counties beat them up, they don't have money. How I wish they were honest from the word go, like I did. So I think I'm more honest than him in that regard.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think a deputy president should have that kind of tone that he has, and wherever he goes, he doesn't shy away from speaking his mind, or do you feel like a deputy president should tone down and listen to let the president speak more?
What I think a deputy president should do is to transition from politics. Actually, the opposition are doing what they are meant to do, to discredit government.
Okay.
But now the ones in government should just forget about the politics, the siyasas. Now they come to the reforms, they come to delivery and performance. So I feel, and it's not just him, and I think it's something in Kenyan politics, that politicians really love the siyasa. But when it gets to getting the job done, it's a bit boring. So the transition between politics and leadership is something we are grappling with in this country.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's your own personal letter to Rigiji.
That's my opinion about politicians in Kenya generally.
I hope Rigiji is writing notes right now. I told you I'll ask you about your Valentines.
Yes.
And I'll have to take a trip down memory lane back then. But then for this Valentine's, how did you spend it?
Actually, I've been in marriage for 6 years, so I can say I'm an old person in marriage.
Okay.
But my better half took me out for dinner. And we just spent some time and we danced. Actually, I've forgotten dancing. Do you know, in politics, you're so scared of dancing. People may take a photo of you.
Okay.
So I realized something I've lost out is I've forgotten dancing. But I'll go back to that.
What's your favorite music that you wake up and dance to?
I can say I love Kenyan music, local content.
Okay.
But there's one. I was a video vixen during the election. I don't know whether Kenyans saw it. It's by Paroti and Wanati. It's called Vile Inafaa. So I love something that I'm part of, and that is a song that I've pulled along from 2022. Yes.
I'm now curious. What did you? We'll definitely have that a little bit later on. Sanik, director, to tupang on that. What did your better half think of that? Seeing you there and all that. And obviously now, this brings up the whole question of how he, held your hand all through campaigns. Because I believe after a whole day of campaigns, going back, you're tired and all that.
The beauty of it that we were always together. He acted as my driver. And it's something we agreed as a couple. Remember, we met in politics. When I was vying for Mavoko in 2017, he was vying for MCA in the same constituency.
Okay.
So that is where we met. And the fact that both of us are in politics or love politics has made it easier for me. Stanley, I saw a report soon after the election that women who went into politics are getting, they're experiencing gender-based violence at home. And then men who went into politics have remarried. So it goes to say homes are broken up because of politics. For me, I can say I really enjoyed because he was with me every step of the journey. And I remember even in the fields, the party leader used to say, "Wapi bwana yoyu mama?" And guys would see him. So for us, it was a good experience. We experienced it together.
All right.
Yes. So when he saw me on the video, actually he knew I was going and he dropped me there. So for us, politics is something we enjoy as a
really?
couple.
Okay.
Yes.
And because I had asked much as you taking us a trip down memory lane, back then when you were quite a young girl, which particular boyfriend do you remember to this day?
That I won't say in public. But one thing I'll say, when I was a young girl, I grew up in Kibera, an estate called Fort Jesus. And Fort Jesus has communal parkings. So in the morning when we'd go with my dad and my brother, when my dad was going to drop us in school, I would see young ladies, young men driving cars. And people would say that these cars are company cars. So from a very tender age, I knew once you graduate, you'll get a job and you're going to get a company car. But it's not the case now. So those are the things that have pushed me into going into politics. And remember, Kenya is, the average age is 20.1 years. So Stanley, when I check into that mind, the age of that person, when I was in Daystar, then Mombasa Road, I used to be a day bag. So on Mombasa Road, there's traffic. You see young guys driving, and that is you. You know, you are saying, let me study hard, I'll get a job. And then interesting, at that time, other companies used to come. I won't mention them, you're not sponsoring them, yeah? But they used to come to recruit graduate students, people who had a higher GPA. And that was motivation then. So I'm thinking about the 20.1-year-old in Kenya now. What is their fate after they graduate?
Okay.
Will they get a job? Will they come into politics? What is motivating them? That is the challenge we have now.
Okay. And because, speak of matters, again, music, because you were brought up in the times of Issa, I don't know if, Director, we can also have that.
Yes.
I'd like you to, which is your best Issa song?
Boomba Train.
Boomba Train.
That song takes me back to high school during entertainment.
Hey.
Then I was a prefect in high school.
Uh-huh.
So that time during entertainment, you don't have to show guys that you're letting your hair down.
Prefectual.
Limuru Girls School, I was in Chalks.
Okay.
So
which department?
I was a class prefect.
Oh,
actually.
Class.
And class.
So wewe na noisemakers mlikuwa?
Mimi ndio nilikuwa hapo. And actually I think hapo ndio siasa yangu started. You know, managing most of the time what are guys doing in school? They're in class.
Yeah,
so imagine that politics. So being a prefect, you don't show guys that you want to dance, nini. Because again, you're told when you study well, when you play a game, if you're a prefect, you know, have responsibilities, that it's going to be easier for you to get a job. How many of the kids in high school are told that? And then they go to university, they perform so well, then they come out. So for me, that is the burden I think we should be pushing the conversation towards.
So back to Issa.
Boomba Train.
Boomba Train.
Yes.
Can you sing it for us? So, Director, if you can actually dance live here.
Eke sauti so that you know my voice. And those people you say, don't listen to the words, not to the voice.
You're literally there when it's playing. You just you're lip syncing.
I can sing alone.
Right.
But I can't sing alone.
Okay.
Without the voice and the sound.
Director, can we have some Issa? Then we see how good she can actually dance.